Hello and welcome.
To the Delusional Boyfriend Book Club, where if shipping One Piece characters is wrong, I don't want to be right. My name is Courtney.
And I'm Wolf.
And every week we're going to be reading, reviewing, and reacting to one volume of One Piece and shipping the characters together. If you want to find out who our delusional boyfriend is from every volume, make sure that you rate, review, and subscribe, and turn on your auto downloads so that every Tuesday these episodes go immediately to your library. These are going to be kind of mini episodes because it's just one volume review. So hopefully you guys are excited for those. And if you're interested in longer form reviews, I review a BL manhwa, a BL anime, and a BL live action, as well as a romance novel every month. And those release on Thursdays. Thank you so much for coming along for our journey. And today we're just talking about One Piece Volume 1. I'm so excited to start this journey. Wolf, when did you start reading and watching One Piece?
I probably started reading and watching One Piece when it came out on Toonami when I was, I think, 10 years old. I think that's when it came out in like 2003 or something like that.
Wow.
So it's been a while.
And is this your favorite anime of all time?
For me, yes, it definitely is.
Is it your favorite manga of all time?
No, Hunter x Hunter is.
Hunter x Hunter is your favorite manga?
Hunter x Hunter, yeah.
Wow. So is there a difference for you between watching One Piece and reading One Piece?
I prefer watching One Piece just because I've been watching it since I was so young, but I have caught up to the point where I can't wait. And so, because it takes so long to animate it, so now I have to read it and I spoil it for myself before I watch it. And sometimes it makes the excitement of watching it less because I've already read it. But I either way, I just love One Piece. It's a great manga and a great show.
I love how much you love One Piece. It's like this. For a long time, it was this thing that I did not understand and I did not want to get behind. And I used to be like, it's just a pirate fighting show. It's silly, it's stupid, I don't get it. And in the last couple of years, I've made like a real effort in order to understand your hobbies and why these things bring you so much joy. And to be quite frank, once you jump in, it's so obvious, like it's so full of joy.
Yeah, I mean, if it's funny because if you look at the very first manga and like who's on it, it's Luffy, Zoro, and Nami out at sea, and they're just having a good time, and that's kind of the first part of this whole show and the whole manga is that it's about friendship and it's about
silliness.
Well, it's about the journey about how becoming friends is so powerful, and then eventually it changes and it's still about friendship. But it's funny because you'll go through 1,000 episodes or 500 episodes and it will change, but it's one of those things where the friendship is always there, and it's a huge underlying theme of the whole show, and it's a happy vibe, and so I really enjoy the happiness of the show.
There was a lot of moments reading this where it made me think of you as a little kid on a military base and how every friend that Luffy makes, he kind of has to say goodbye to, but it's okay because they're still friends forever. Mm-hmm. And as I read this volume, that's what it made me think is like little Wolfgang would have found a lot of comfort in this idea that you can have friends all around the world and being far away from them doesn't mean that they're not still part of your crew. So I thought that was really cute, and it gave me a lot of insight into why you would like this. I just, like, right away, this is full of so much fun. The author is Ichiro Oda, and throughout this first volume, he teaches you how to draw a pirate flag, and it just feels very fun-loving and joyful. And
the first couple of One Piece manga, there's a lot of little Easter eggs in there that like you don't see anymore, which going back and reading it, that's what I'm excited about is like, first of all, how to see his artwork excel to what it is today, because it really, I mean, it's not simple. It's very good, but it's one of those things where like he starts off and it's so basic of like a 1995, like kind of like manga where it's
style.
Like, yeah, exactly. And now you look at it today, and we're in the giant arc, and it's so much different, like compared to like what it is in the actual manga when you're reading it. So I'm excited to personally on our journey is to see like
the evolution of the art.
Yeah, just and like that's all he's. I mean, he's done Hunter x Hunter. He's done. I'm sorry, I'm not Oda, but I mean like But like it's one of those things where like looking at other artists evolution and into like where they are today is something I really enjoy. And just kind of looking at the overall art style and how they did things. And that's like one thing I'm really looking forward to. And like our whole rereading of this whole thing is seeing where really taking a step back and appreciating the art more. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I'll read it just for the story because I want to know what happens. But now I really would like to appreciate everything that I see on
Each panel.
Absolutely.
I love that. So have you read all of the manga from volume 1, or did you just start reading the manga from where the anime is like current?
Nope. I I did not read it from volume 1. I back in the day I read it from volume 1, probably the first 1 through 15 for a good while. I read it for a while, and then I just kept watching the show because other things happened. I mean, I was in 6th grade when this happened, and back in the day, you were kind of the nerd on the bus if you were reading manga. So I would, I had my manga in the back, and I would read it, and then people would make fun of me. And so eventually, I got into middle school, and I tried to make girls like me, and I put down the manga. And so,
So speaking of which, I am one of those girls. I was absolutely, and I will say this: we went to middle school together, and we did not meet each other.
nope.
I moved
And I was still reading manga then.
He would have been reading manga, and I moved here, and he moved away like one semester after each other. And there would have been a time where we were at the same school together, and a couple of his friends and my brother were all what I would have called the anime club. And they weren't an actual club, but
nerds is what they called us.
They were nerds. But in middle school, to my own brother, I'd be like, "Oh, you're going to hang out with the anime club." So the whole point of this is that I have felt a little bit guilty for being a jerk in the past about anime and how it's all for boys. So in the last couple years, I started my own anime journey and manga journey, and I found BL and I found all of the romance genres.
I'm super excited about that.
And I have become, like, in my own right, a huge anime nerd and a huge manga nerd. But it took us so much of our relationship. And I do remember back in middle school, like seeing one of the anime boys and being like, "Oh, what's that Naruto head? What is that headband you're wearing?" And they're like, "It's not a headband. It's a blah, blah, blah." And they were very gatekeepy about their anime. They were very pretentious and snobby. And I don't deal well with men who are being snobby or pretentious or condescending to me. So
it's hard to.
It took me such a long time to like get past that and know that there are dude bros in the anime sphere, especially in shonen. And then there's guys like Wolfgang who just genuinely want you to have fun and experience what this is like. And sometimes he was just too much like that dude bro to me. And I finally got past that judgment. And one day I was like, I really want to know what this is all about. But how long do you think it took me to give One Piece specifically a chance? It probably took me 6 or 7 years to give anime at all a chance.
So I was the dude bro at one point.
Yeah.
And then you got, okay, I was going to make sure.
For the first 7 years of our relationship, I said, I will not watch anime with you. It's for boys.
No, I mean, during our college years, what would happen is you would fall asleep, and then because we didn't really party much, you would fall asleep, and I would watch anime at night, and then you'd wake up and be like, "This is really loud." And
it was always so loud.
I was like, "I'm sorry, I'll turn it down." But I mean, and when you eventually started watching One Piece,
it was this year.
No, it was this year. I mean, anime
or a year ago.
Yeah, about a year ago. But you're at episode 545 and 43, and like she's made a solid run at it. I'm very happy. She knows a lot of people. She likes to edit her videos and then watch it in the background, and I truly like to watch it over with her again.
And there is, so a lot of people, if you guys are just listening to this in the background and aren't reading along with us, or if you are reading along with us and you don't know anything about this fandom, there's a lot of people who talk about One Pace, which is basically the fact that in the anime, it took them longer to wait for these manga to be released. So they made some of these filler episodes, which feel like recap episodes. So somewhere along the way in my anime journey, I did stop on my One Piece journey. I stopped paying too much attention. So I'm excited to go through the manga and actually know like all of the details, what's going on, and then go back because I'm at about episode 500 and there's 1100 episodes available. I'm excited to go back to about episode 300 where I stopped paying as much attention because there's a lot of Easter eggs I know are going to come back in episode 1000, and I am not going to be happy that I wasn't paying attention and taking notes. So I'm really happy we're going all the way back for this.
I mean, I think for everyone who's like caught up on One Piece, I think one question that is on everyone's mind is like, did Oda know that this manga, like this series, would go on for so long? Because it is incredible to look at One Piece now, and then you watch the episodes currently, and everything
Tied together.
Everything is like it really everything comes back, and it's just, it's beautiful, it's heartbreaking, but also it's one of the happiest things when you see like your old friends come back and you're like, wow, I've been on such a huge journey. We sailed the seas, and then there's this whale.
The whale, I was just gonna say
there's this whale, and then like it doesn't even matter that much, but it breaks you as a person because you're like, there's Labu the whale,
and you want that to come back. And when I heard it, that's a little bit of a spoiler.
And he's still waiting, and it's beautiful.
And that's kind of like us, like we're waiting to see what will happen, if our friends will come back, but we're always thinking about them. It's very sweet, and it does all tie together. And I'm mad that I was resistant to this for so long.
It's a long show. I don't blame anyone for not.
It's a long show, but I am here to say it's not your fault, girls. If you were mean to boys about anime, they were probably mean to you, and they were probably mean to you first and didn't let you join their anime club and weren't nice about explaining their anime to you, and that's why you rejected it. And
you were probably prettier than them.
I would have been a part of it if people had welcomed me, but I don't think that was the vibe back in the day. The vibe back in the day was they were pretty much bullied, so they were kind of closed off, and I think that's why I wasn't quite accepted. But if you're ready to get into your manga One Piece shonen journey as a woman, I just want to say, like, you're forgiven for not being that open to it in the past, and it is a perfect time to join now. Better late than never. It took you like 8 years of our relationship to finally be like, okay, are we ready for One Piece? Because I don't want to scare you off. I know we're engaged to be married, but
you ready for this?
Are you ready?
For this journey?
Can we please start?
1,000 episodes. Here we go.
So I had a couple questions about like your general favorites. So in this story, who is your overall delusional girlfriend, delusional boyfriend from the whole series?
Okay. Day one, it's definitely Nami.
Day one.
That's just she's
the background of your iPad. You have her everywhere.
Yeah, and I believe that the One Piece show starts different than the manga, and you actually start with Nami instead of it opening up with the whole like background and everything. And so like from the beginning, you're always getting Nami in there, and that's been my delusional girlfriend, boyfriend, however, it doesn't matter. That's been my delusional person this entire time, just because first of all, she's a lot like you. She likes all the treasures.
She likes money.
She likes money. She likes all the treasures, but also she's really beautiful, just like you. And she's Nami, and when we read more, we'll get more into it. But Nami is a very complicated character, and she's one of those people that like you always root for her, even though she's not the strongest on the crew, but she's like the smartest on the crew. She is 100% the smartest. She's like
useful.
The most useful. She definitely ties down everybody in the whole crew because like she's the most emotionally attached to everyone in some aspects, because like she really, I mean, like her and Luffy, I would say she really like is like the mother of the ship.
Yeah.
And like she's like one of those people.
Or the big sister.
The big sister, either way. Like, but she's like a caregiver of the ship in some aspects because she's really like smart, can do everything, and like really makes the ideas that like promote, like help the crew figure out the situation in the end of everything, to be honest.
So what you're saying is you like a woman who takes the lead and takes charge and likes money and is sassy and cute
and badass
and takes care of everybody.
Yeah. And like, and she has her fights, and she fights her fights well, and I love Nami. But then my overall other delusional, boyfriend in the whole show would be...
Who is your delusional boyfriend from One Piece?
Doflamingo.
You're right.
But we're not going to meet him for a long time.
Would you say Luffy is your favorite character over him? Like, because Luffy's the main character? Would you say Dolphy is like your favorite character no matter what?
Well, I mean, I think if you've watched One Piece your entire life, like I have, Luffy's obviously going to be your number one character, but that's a kind of a cop-out answer.
And he's not your boyfriend. Like, Dolphy is like you get stars in your eyes when he walks on the screen because he's so cool. And then Luffy's like goofy.
Sure, no, and it would be Dolphy and his brother Corazon.
Right.
Those two, I think, have the best stories in One Piece. And I mean, the community has also voted on this. It's like one of the best stories in the whole thing.
And they're stylish and they have sex appeal. They're like, they are just delusional boyfriend material.
Super cool characters.
Whereas like Luffy, I think he's like asexual. I think he has very little sex appeal. He's not interested in sex. He's just not. That's not his vibe.
Yeah, no, Luffy is just a cool guy that just wants to have fun.
Silly little guy.
Yeah, he's just looking for his next adventure, and that's the happy. It's one of those things where it's like the happy child in all of us, because it doesn't matter about like the whole sexuality thing. It's like he just wants to be cool with everybody, and like he doesn't need to be one of those dudes that's like going after every single chick, because like he's attractive in his own right because he knows who he is and he's able to have fun with everybody. And that's kind of it's a really cool character.
Romance doesn't seem to be on Luffy's mind at all.
Not as much as I would wish or as hope, because I mean
I would hope too.
I would hope that he would get with Boa Hancock eventually, because I think that's she drives the romance in that, and so that's I think is really awesome. But that's for a different topic, a different time, a different episode.
In 1,100 episodes of One Piece, has anybody ever kissed, like romantically become a couple?
I mean, yeah.
Of like the main people, though.
Oh, the main people?
It's not the plot. Like, it's not even a B plot. It's not a side plot. There's no
and like,
relationships. There's no romance.
No, and like, when you say that, like, the only person that comes to mind is like kiss would be Sanji. Because Sanji, there's a lot of different women he meets in his journeys that don't really fall for Sanji, but he tries his best.
He's a simp. He simps for everything.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and which is awesome and sometimes really unattractive to me personally, because like he's kind of a hoe. I don't know if I can say that.
A hoe. He has no loyalty to any of these women. Like so anyways, we haven't met Sanji yet, but I will say that one reason we're doing One Piece and I wanted to do this was because One Piece has no romance, but the fandom is extremely good at shipping these characters together. And if you have listened to my episode with One Piece of Trash, the fan fiction podcast run by Jazzy about it, where they voice actors read aloud fan fiction, will know. Very
good voice actors, which is
upsetting to Wolfgang, because he never thought he would have to hear Zoro voiced almost perfectly as Zoro.
Do a very good job, whoever does that.
And a character named Usopp get down to business.
Strange choice, and I love her for Zoro, but I'm not gonna.
They call it a ship, Wolfgang. So
no, I know. Everyone would assume it would be Sanji, but like it's fine. There's also like thousands. I mean, like thousands upon thousands of other well-drawn men in the show, but we went with Usopp.
You know what?
You even have Shanks on the episode. It's fine. I'm not gonna. You could have had a
lot of people.
You could have had a romance over two ships, and it would have been beautiful. But you chose Usopp, and that's the way you like it, and I'm fine with it.
Well, and one thing about Usopp that you're not realizing, and from that, so you guys have to follow One Piece of Trash. This
good podcast.
Fanfic podcast is so good. And one thing I realized before, and to be honest, you weren't the one who convinced me to watch One Piece.
They did.
She definitely, Jazzy, when I saw that podcast, I thought this concept is crazy. Maybe if I can get into a fan fiction version of One Piece, I'll care about the real One Piece. And that's exactly what happened, because I realized that there's this world where they're shipping a main character named Zoro and a main character named Sanji together. So I became a Zo-san girl, which is Zoro and Sanji. Now, when I started listening to that podcast, Zo-san. And we have a book club t-shirt this year, and it is Zo-san. I'll try to put a picture here.
Zo-san. Okay.
Honey, get over it. So our t-shirt for this year is Zo-san, and I really love that ship. But when I listened to this first episode of this fanfic podcast, I realized that a lot of people find Usopp to be very attractive and to have some of his own special characteristics. I didn't realize until I started listening to that Usopp is a Black character.
Mm-hmm.
And in that podcast, it was fun to explore those dynamics and that his personality with these other characters. And I guess when I first met Usopp in anime, I thought he was like a crybaby. He is a crybaby. He's a coward. But through fanfic, I got to see that he does have in his own way like this big dick energy. So I thought that was really fun. But now that we're going through ourselves and reading,
it's scaredy boy energy, but it's not. Okay.
but sometimes he's not scaredy boy, and sometimes he goes with just a slingshot and will like David and Goliath. He'll go up against anybody with his little slingshot, and that is big dick energy. And he is a sweetheart, and he never leaves his crew. He's very loyal. So it's fun to explore the fan fiction in this series because a lot of these characters who in the anime might not get as much dialogue or internal. You might not get their internal thoughts as much. When people write fanfic, even smaller characters, and Usopp is a main character, but he's, I would say, like more of a side character of the main crew. There's the main crew on this ship, on this pirate ship, and they are all treated kind of like the main character at certain points because we get their backstory and we get a lot from them. But I would say if you love fan fiction, especially if you like gay stuff and you like gay fan fiction and you like smutty romance, you're not going to get it in the normal One Piece. You're not going to get it in these volumes. You're not going to get it in the anime. You are going to get it in the fan fiction. So you can absolutely go out and find that fan fiction and say you like two random characters who never even meet in the show. I promise you, there is a fanfic that ships them together and fully fleshes out their personality and gives you even the smallest character in the story, gives you that like a whole made up world where they have a full fleshed out life. So if you're going through this and you find yourself falling in love with any of your delusional boyfriends and you want more content, go on AO3, look up the ship that you're interested in, even if it's like a totally wild crack ship between two unlikely characters or mortal enemies. And I promise there's going to be thousands of fics already written on it. So I guess the only other questions I had were, who do you think my favorite character by the end of the series will be? Who do you predict my delusional boyfriend is?
That's a good question. Maybe I want to say Shanks because he's kind of sometimes my delusional boyfriend. He's very mysterious. But I think just based off of me knowing you, it's probably going to be Zoro, and it's always going to be Zoro.
Because he's hot?
Yeah, but also Zoro is just, he doesn't stop getting hot. Like he just
gets hotter and hotter.
Well, he just keeps doing things. You're just like, well, they just blew their entire season's budget on this one Zoro scene because they wanted to make him look so cool, and he did a great job, and that's completely fine. And I'm as a One Piece fan, I'm happy that they blew their entire budget just making this one scene look as good as they possibly could of swordplay. So
you think Zoro over Corazon, Zoro over Dolphy? Like you think I will find Zoro to be the hottest? Overall?
Yeah, I mean that, or we're also big Matt Mercer fans from Critical Role. So
we love you, Matt.
We love you, Matt. He plays Law in this, and so you might like him just because Law is he's tied in with the Doflamingo and the Corazon backstory, plot. And it's a heartbreaking, but it's a great plot.
I can already tell you that I am gonna like Law because they just came out with a merch piece for this character, and I have no idea who this character is, but he has knuckle tats that say death and what is the other? They both say death.
I can't remember. One says death and one says something
else. Yeah. So he's got these knuckle tattoos.
He's a cool character.
And they came up with an incense holder, which is his fingers, like
yeah.
holding it where you put the incense between his fingers. But it blew up the internet. It went totally viral because everyone was like, oh, Law was already the hottest character. And now you just made like a fisting dildo for him. Or a fingering dildo for him. It's so funny. So I probably will love Law. I have my own prediction for who will be my delusional boyfriend.
Who do you think? I'm curious.
I think it's funny that you say Zoro because I feel like, and I think it's funny that you say Sanji to you is annoying because I feel like you are Sanji.
Sanji is my brother's favorite character, and I love Sanji to death. He's part of the crew, but he's just not my favorite because he goes around and simps a little too much.
You're a loyal man. You only simp for one girl. And he initially...
Yeah, but some of his quotes about women are fantastic. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like it's a man's job to forgive a woman when she lies. It's like it's one of these things where like it's peak writing. It's great.
And I think like overall I would love to... I think like Zoro's the obvious pick for me, but I think that in the end, Sanji being a hopeless romantic and being the one in the show who continually is like obsessed with romance and dating, and he has that like... I don't know. He's got that fangirl thing. You know me, I always have a crush on somebody. And so I really love it when somebody else is like always crushing and like bringing that energy to the party of like, let's all kiss, let's play spin the bottle. Like, I love that character, and that's definitely Sanji. I do think I'll get annoyed because his first person that he simps for is Nami. And in the show, when I saw him simp for Nami and then like also simp for other girls, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, we only have eyes for one lady. That's the kind of man we are. We only have eyes for one lady. So I think I'll get annoyed with that, but I can't wait to meet all the other characters and see, because there's definitely like Whitebeard. There's a bunch of zaddies in this that might end up being my number ones.
Well,
Ace. We didn't even talk about Ace. Also, you cannot even be on the internet with this show for one day without getting a little bit of spoilers. So
you've seen it. You know what I'm talking about.
We apologize. You have not seen it, probably. I don't know. The girls who are listening to this, Wolfgang, probably haven't seen it. But if you...
Go watch it.
If you start going on to the One Piece rabbit hole on the internet, you will pretty quickly find spoilers. So please forgive us. This is a spoiler-friendly podcast. So if we spoil anything, we're sorry. We really do apologize. But this is your warning right now. We may spoil something. So if you want absolutely no spoilers, maybe watch and read everything and come back to this when you are completely caught up.
Go read 1,000 chapters and then come back to it.
We're going to go through the One Piece Volume 1 plot here, and we're not going to be super specific, just a summary so that we keep you all in the loop. I know a lot of people listen to podcasts without reading along. So for all of you out there, this is what happens in Volume 1. We start off with Luffy, and he is in his hometown. He's 9 years old, and a pirate crew has been using his home harbor as home base for a long time. And they're the nicest pirates ever, and he really looks up to their captain. And the mayor in this town is kind of looking out for Luffy, and so is the barkeep, who is this really wonderful lady. And they make sure that Luffy has enough to eat, and they keep telling him, you know, you don't need to become a pirate. But he looks up to the captain of this crew.
Shanks, yeah.
So much, and his name is Red Hair Shanks, and they're the Red Hair Pirates. And he keeps trying to go out with them to sea, and Shanks says, you don't know how to swim, we call you Anchor, that's why you're not allowed to come with us, because you'll just sink. And Luffy's like, no, I am tough, and I will learn how to swim, and I won't fall overboard. I won't fall overboard, so just take me with you. And they won't take him seriously, so Luffy cuts himself in the face to show them that he's tough and that he's not scared of getting hurt. And that's where his signature scar comes from on his face. And after a while, we see some other bad guys come into town, and they go into the bar and pick...
Mountain bandits,
and they pick on these pirates. And the pirates don't take the opportunity to start a war with them. They just kind of let them run amok and hope they'll leave town. And Luffy's not very impressed with that. But Shanks tries to teach him a lesson about how sometimes starting a fight isn't your best choice. Even if you know you're bigger and stronger than the other guys, sometimes it's best to just let things go. If you get a beer poured on you or you get knocked around a little bit, is it really worth killing a guy over? And does it make you strong or manly to kill people unnecessarily? And this is where we start to see that Shanks is this like incredible role model for Luffy. And no wonder Luffy wants to be a pirate, because this is such like a good man, and he takes care of his friends, and he does let Luffy hang around. So these bandits come back later when Shanks isn't there, and Luffy does get in a fight with them because he wants to protect his friend's honor. And so he gets in this fight.
He doesn't understand that Shanks is being the bigger man. And it's a lesson that Luffy learns on this day.
Yes.
Somewhat.
And when nobody was looking, he had eaten this fruit for dessert the day previous. So when he picks this fight with this guy, the guy's kind of starting to see that his cheeks are very rubbery, and that every time he punches Luffy in the face or kicks him in the head, he's not dying. In fact, he's just like,
he's a rubber man,
kind of getting knocked around. He goes, "You're a freak. I'm going to sell you. I'm going to take you and sell you as a I'm going to take you and sell you as a freak because you obviously ate a devil fruit." And this is where we learn what a devil fruit is. So basically, there's several different kinds of devil fruit around the world, and they're the sacred treasure of the sea, or one of the sacred treasures of the sea. And each one has a different power and gives you different powers, but it always takes away your ability to swim.
Mm-hmm.
So it is very helpful to pirates because they can fight better, but a huge detriment because if they go in the water, it doesn't matter how good or smart, powerful they are. If they go in the water, they will drown and die.
You always thought that was a very stupid plot point when I first told you about
As a pirate,
this.
I was
You're
like,
that doesn't make a lot of sense. And I'm like, well, it's a trade-off. It's a big trade-off.
And it actually, that's the whole point of the show. So this is when we realize that Luffy is a rubber man. At about 9 years old, he turns into a rubber man, and Shanks comes in on this fight and sees everything happening and basically breaks it up. And in the meantime, the bad guy throws a smoke bomb down and drags Luffy out into the ocean and is going to kill Luffy by making him drown, this little 9-year-old boy. And he's shoving Luffy off the boat and into the water. And then we see a huge sea snake, like a huge sea monster, come up.
Sea King, yeah.
A sea thing. And
Sea King.
Oh.
That's not sea thing, Sea King.
So this Sea King, this sea creature comes up and goes to eat Luffy. And who steps in the way and saves him at the very last minute?
Shanks.
And he loses his arm.
Yeah, he just kind of teleports there, which it's interesting. He just kind of teleports right in front of the Sea King, and then he loses. The Sea King bites him at the right second. Shanks rips Luffy aside. Shanks loses an arm, and then as the Sea King is going to go in to get him again, Shanks looks at him and says, "No," and the thing runs away.
Is that really how that happens?
Yep, and I
didn't pay attention to that in the manga.
Yeah, no, and as a reader at this point, you don't really understand.
I don't understand
that much, but
don't spoil it for me.
We're not going to.
Okay.
But later on in the show, it's yeah.
And I will say that I was curious. How did Shanks get there so fast? Because he's
very powerful
on land, and then all of a sudden he is in front of this sea monster, and he's pulling Luffy back. So he loses his arm, and Luffy freaks out.
And he can swim, so he did not eat a fruit.
Yeah, so it's not about a fruit. So he is not worried at all. He's not even crying when he loses his arm. And Luffy's freaking out. He's like, "What about your arm?" And Shanks says, "My arm is nothing. Losing my arm is nothing as long as you're safe. You're my friend. Nobody will ever hurt my friends. Not those mountain bandits, not these sea creatures. I'll always defend you, and I'll always be there for you." So Shanks loses his arm, and then a couple weeks later, they decide to stop using this as their home base and move on. And I think this is probably because they can tell that they're endangering the townspeople. They're drawing too much attention. They're creating too much chaos. And Shanks knows he has a mission as a pirate to get back to. So they need to get back on the seas. They're not land people. They can't stay here forever.
He needs to travel. He needs to travel the world.
So he says goodbye to Luffy, and it's kind of heartbreaking, but he tells Luffy that they'll always be friends and to please take care of his special straw hat while he's away.
And that's when we first get it.
And Luffy's dream is to be a better pirate than Shanks. So he says, if you're going to be a better pirate than me, if you're going to be king of the pirates one day, I'll see you and you can give this hat back to me then. And so this whole thing about king of the pirates comes from the original guy, Goldie Roger. He was the king of the pirates in the Great Pirate era. He was a king and he got executed in front of everybody. And before he got executed, he said, "All of you pirates out there, I've hidden my treasure, the One Piece, and you'll have to travel the world to find it, but it's out there and it's yours if you do find it." And he's inspired all this new generation of pirates to go out and sail the seas. So even though the Marines are executing this king of the pirates, he has reignited an entire world of pirates to be even badder and worse than ever. So basically, all the Marines did by executing Goldie Roger was make their issue worse.
It set the candle.
Yes.
Or set it ablaze.
They set it ablaze. Yeah. And so basically, Luffy's dream is to find that One Piece, his buried treasure, and be the next Goldie Roger.
In the golden era of pirates,
yep.
Which is theoretically impossible.
Yes. And so this One Piece, everyone knows that if you are going to find this, you basically have to go to the Grand Line, which is a certain part of the ocean. And so
explore the world and find
explore the world. But everyone knows that there's a certain treacherous places geographically that you're going to have to get to. And Luffy's just a boy, but he has this dream that he'll find the treasure and he'll be the king of the pirates, which means that Shanks would have to kneel to him one day. And Shanks says, okay, if you're going to be king of the pirates, give me my hat back and come find me one day and we'll fight it out and see which one of us is better. And so they set on their way. Luffy,
well, he says, give it to me when you're a great pirate one day. And so he has faith that he will find him one day in the future, and they'll meet again and be friends just like they are.
Yeah, and he does say, he says that means I would have to kneel to you, and he seems like he might be okay with that. And then he looks at all of his buddies on his crew and he says, that kid's going to do great things. He reminds me just of myself when I was younger.
Yep.
So then after that, we have a time jump of 10 years, and we see Luffy setting for the sea in a dinghy all by himself. And he is mastered his rubber man powers. And by that, I mean he has one skill, one technique, and it's called Gum Gum Pistol, where his arm is made of rubber and he can shoot it out and punch really hard with it. And that's basically his only trick at this point.
He extends his arm far.
Yeah, it just shoots out like a rubber arm, like one of those sticky toys from the 90s where it was a hand.
Absolutely.
And you slapped it against things and it would extend. Luffy sets for the seas, and all he has is this Gum pistol. And he's in a dinghy. And when he gets in the dinghy, what happens immediately? He runs into that sea creature again.
Yep. It's kind of it's like the hometown sea creature, sea king that lives there, and he even says like, "Oh, there
our
you
local
are,
guy,
our local sea king. Like, I'm so glad I get to see you. This is like the test of getting out of here." And
he did owe him a little bit of revenge for eating Shanks's arm, so he gum pistols him right in the face, and the sea creature goes away. And you think, oh, Luffy's off to a good start. Nope. He immediately is sucked into a whirlpool, and he goes into this whirlpool, and
which I forgot about. And that's she's like super funny. That's the first thing, because he's a great guy, but he's such a bad pirate.
Oh, he's such a bad pirate. And that's the thing, is he knows right away he is not going to be able to do this on his own. So he says, I'm setting out to find my crew. And initially, all alone, he can barely do anything. And this whirlpool also sets up the reality in this universe, which is that some things are going to be a little bit magical. So Luffy gets sucked down in that, and I guess he hides in a barrel that he finds somewhere, and he pops back up somewhere else in the ocean. And this little boy, who's about his age, finds this barrel and thinks it's full of rum. So he rolls it onto his pirate ship. And he goes, oh my gosh, guys, I found some rum. Isn't this exciting? And
Colby.
That's his name. So Kobe is the boy who found him. And he is, this is where we get introduced to his character. So Kobe says to the other people on the ship, hey, look, I found some rum. And they all said, don't tell the captain, Alvida. She'll be very mad at us. So just drink it quietly. And he goes, okay, I won't tell.
And they're about to open it, and Luffy bursts out of the barrel and he says, what a great nap. And that's what she hears. It's from the other side of the boat. She hears this individual say, what a great nap. And she goes, are you slacking? And so she comes in with the mace and starts whacking these dudes. And they go, there's actually an intruder, dude. Like, it's not us. And she whacks Luffy and finds out he's Rubber Man. And so we're starting to see here, there's very little that can hurt the Rubber Man, because any blunt force trauma is not going to do anything to him. And basically, even we've seen in this volume, we see bullets, we see cannons, all sorts of things. Nothing really seems to be able to hurt the Rubber Man. We meet this character, Alvida. It's a tough pirate, and we realize it's going to be the first pirate that Luffy has to stand up to and defeat, the first captain of a pirate crew. And he is only a crew of one. So we're kind of nervous right off the bat, because we see that Kobe is terrified. All of these men are terrified of her. She has this mace, and Luffy doesn't really give a shit. And he ends up kind of convincing Kobe to also stand up for himself. And so Kobe tells this woman, who makes her whole crew say, who's the fairest in all of the seas, Alvida? So she goes to make Kobe say that. And instead of responding the way she wants him to respond, he says, Alvida's the ugliest old hag in the sea. Mm-hmm. And she gets so mad. And this is Kobe's first time standing up for himself, and he feels like he can do it because he now has a friend, and because Luffy has his back. And then Luffy does what? Knocks that bitch out. Yeah, she does. Yeah, no, it's a it's a great scene because it's the first time he stands up for himself, and he says that he wants to join the Navy, and so he sees the courage that Luffy gives off, and he takes the courage and he stands up for himself against Alvida, which is awesome.
And what we learned was that Kobe got kidnapped by this crew.
He just wanted to go fishing.
He wanted to go fishing. He got kidnapped and he became their cabin boy. So he's kind of been a slave for them for 2 years, and he's been building his own dinghy. And when Luffy says it, when Luffy sees it, he goes, "Is this a coffin? Why does it look like this? It's awful." So after they knock out Alvida, they look at the rest of the crew, and Luffy says, "This guy never wanted to be a pirate. He wants to be in the Navy so he can take out bad guys like you. And if you don't want me to knock you out, you're going to give him one of your dinghies." So they give him one of the dinghies and they set off. And we find out that Kobe is very good at navigating. He has been doing all of the work of the cabin boy, so he has a lot of skills, and he helps Luffy get to the next place that they're going. And when they get there, he relays the message, or he relays the gossip that there is a swordsman, a bounty hunter, who's locked up in this town. And if Luffy goes and rescues him, then he could be, one of his crew. But Kobe doesn't intend to go with Luffy much longer, and he's a little bit worried that Luffy's...
No, and he's telling him the whole time. He's like, I don't know if this is the right guy. He's in jail. He's not a good guy. Kobe, he wants to join the Navy, and so he's like...
You need somebody.
He's like, you need somebody, but he needs to be a good person because I'm going to be a Navy. That's his morals. Is he wants he's like, we need to be above the board, and Luffy essentially is like, I'm going to go talk to him. I'm going to go see him.
So we have those two going to set free this guy named Zoro, at least to see what kind of guy he is, so they can see if they want him on the crew. Kobe doesn't intend on staying, and he is worried that if Luffy goes out on his own, he's going to get himself killed. He has no sense of navigation. He has, no plan. All he's going off of is vibes and good times. So Kobe wants to help him get set up for success. And we kind of see this dynamic of, no matter what your dream is, whether you want to be a pirate or you want to be in the Navy, there's good guys on both sides who have dreams and missions that they're working on that are good. And there's bad guys on both sides. There's bad pirates and there's bad Marines. And if you believe in your dreams and you believe in what is right, you can choose any dream you want. You don't have to be a pirate to be a good guy. You don't have to be in the Navy to be a good guy. And I loved that in this story. It's not like everyone in the Marines is bad. It's just there are bad people on both sides and there are good people on both sides. Mm-hmm. And that's very true in our day and age. And I kept thinking about how you were raised in a Navy family and what it must be like to see a lot of these Navy characters drawn as the villains when your dad was not a villain, he was a hero to you. But then as we go through, we see a lot of heroes who are in the Marines, and it's not just black and white. There's good and bad on both sides, and it's up to each one of us to decide what we're going to be. Mm-hmm. So I love that. So then we meet Zoro, who is the hottest character ever. And in this volume, and for several volumes, he's called Solo because of copyright issues. Yeah. And when you see him drawn...
I know, you stopped reading. Like, what? Why is this a copy? Is this a misprint or something like that? And I was like, no, it's
they had to. So in the early 2000s, Zorro was a blockbuster Hollywood hit, and
was it The Mask of Zorro?
It was The Mask of Zorro, and that would have been when we were kids, and I loved it. Was Benicio del Toro? No. It was
that one guy,
Antonio Banderas.
Yes, the one.
It was Antonio Banderas.
One handsome actor.
I think that's who it was. And so in this manga, you can see, okay, The Legend of Zorro. That's what the movie was. The
Legend of Zorro.
The Legend of Zorro.
There it is.
So in this, you can see that Oda was taking great inspiration from the original lore of the swordsman Zorro. And it just so happens that was being made into a Hollywood blockbuster at the same time. And they were both talking about this character. But that copyright on the movie was probably going to come after them if they use that. So they call him Zolo. That stops in the manga, but it is kind of funny. And you do see that Oda drew him with a bandit mask and a lot of things that do harken back to that original legend of Zorro.
He's just missing the hat.
Yeah. Well, and he has like he's
got like
a different kind of hat, like a do-rag.
Yeah, he's got like his little, like, it's
bandana.
like a bandana over him, but it's like, I think that the Legend of Zorro, he even had the same thing exactly. Yeah. He just had like the hat.
No, he did. He had a cowboy hat over like a bandana or
so
do-rag.
he's just missing the hat. Yeah. He looks almost exactly like him.
Yes, and the difference being he has 3 swords, and this is very sexy. He also has 3 earrings, which is very sexy. He has green hair, which is sexy. In the anime, he has a dark complexion, which is very sexy, and kind of like an islander complexion. So very gorgeous character right off the bat, and he is found by Kobe and Luffy tied up to a pole. And basically, he's been told by the captain of the Marines, his son told him, if you can stay here for 1 month with no food and survive, we will let you go for free. So that's what he's setting out to do. And we're wondering, okay, why did this bounty hunter get caught in the first place? How did he even get caught? And it turns out he was helping somebody. He didn't do anything bad. He was actually just helping someone. And the Marines on this island are so corrupt that they kill people for no reason. And there's a son named Helmeppo, and then his daddy, whose name is Axehand
Morgan.
Morgan.
It's Lieutenant Morgan.
And this, like the Morgan, Captain Morgan is his name, and he runs the Marines, and he has them under his literal spell. He can tell them, shoot yourself in the head, and he does this at one point, and they would do it.
He's literally making a statue of himself to put on top of their base.
He's like, a dictator.
He's very into himself.
Yes, very egotistical, evil. So he has like an axe on his arm. He's awful. So basically he's erecting the statue to himself, and his son is running amok and playing games with Zorro. And Zorro thinks, okay, if I can just survive for a month, I'll be fine. But Luffy overhears and Kobe overhears that they plan on killing him in 3 days. So they enact a plan to save him.
Well, first they knock out the son, Helmeppo. First they knock out Helmeppo because he says that, and he goes, Luffy just...
And then Luffy goes and gets Zoro's swords because they've kind of introduced themselves to Zoro, and Zoro doesn't want their help. He thinks he's going to get out of there anyways. But then a little girl comes to Zoro.
Well, he's a pirate hunter, so he's like, I'm not going to join
the pirates. I'm not a pirate.
I hunt you guys.
Mm-hmm. I'm on the right side of the law. I kill you legally for a bounty. So he doesn't want to go with them. A little girl comes to try to feed Zoro, and this boy Helmeppo and these other Marines, they stomp on the food that she made for Zoro, and they throw her over the gate. And we realize that this problem is like much bigger than the law. It doesn't matter if Zoro broke the law or not. They're going to kill him anyways. They're going to keep hurting the other people on this island. And so Zoro, there's a really cute moment when that food gets stomped up, and we put color-coded tabs in here, and the only one that Wolfgang chose was this moment where this little girl tries to feed Zoro, and they stomp on her food, and then Zoro eats all the food anyways. He tells Luffy to come over and give it to him, and he says, you go back to that little girl, and you tell her I ate every single bite, and it was delicious. And you get this idea that...
It's the first rice ball she ever made.
And in Japanese culture, I think, in general, and often in this manga specifically, and a lot of others, food is this representation of love and caring for people, and it's going to come back a lot in this story. But this is our first example.
It's a kind act.
Yes, and actually, this is not our first example. Our first example was when Luffy was a little boy in the first chapter. There's this barkeep who's letting him eat for free, and he says, "Put it on my treasure tab. I'll pay you when I get my treasure one day." So we see that people giving each other food and eating each other's food is a way of recognizing their efforts and their hard work and what it takes to kind of stay alive in a world like this. So after we see how harsh they're treating the people of this village, Zoro also starts to understand that he has no choice. He either can get executed or he can join Luffy. And Luffy goes to get his swords. Kobe goes to untie him. Kobe gets shot. And he's not afraid. Kobe is now bucking up, and he's saying, I'm going to get you out of here. The Marines are the bad guys on this island, and we have to defeat them, and we have to set things straight here because the Marines are supposed to be good. They're supposed to follow the law, and if I'm going to be a Marine one day, we need to set things right here on this island. So they get him freed, and then it's those 3 against the entire Marines. And this captain of the Marines is resurrecting a statue to himself like a dictator. Luffy goes to see what's going on over there and accidentally collapses.
Knocks the statue. He knocks the statue over as he Gum stretches his arm all the way to the top. It's like hundreds of feet. Goes to the very top of the building, comes up, knocks the statue over. Helmeppo, who Luffy had hit, is crying up there to his dad, saying, "You need to go kill this guy." Like, and Luffy comes up and then knocks the statue over, and so both Axe Hand Morgan and Helmeppo are pissed. At Luffy.
So they're going to go kill him, and Luffy and Zoro and Kobe end up surrounded by them. And that's when we see Zoro enact his 3-sword technique, and we get Zoro's backstory. So it cuts back and forth. If you guys are reading manga along with us and you're curious, every time the panels are black like this, most of the time, it's flipping to another character's perspective or to a backstory in the past. So that's one good indication that we're in a different timeline or we're getting some information from the past.
Do they not do that in BL?
They don't always use black to indicate it.
Okay.
There'll be different ways to indicate.
Because you stopped me and you asked me, like, how do I know this is in the past? And I was like, oh, the border is black. And then I guess I have always known that because I've read it since I was young.
I'm not sure that all manga uses this technique,
really.
But it is helpful to know. So like right here, for example, this is where we get Zoro's backstory, and we meet his childhood best friend, and we see how he learned his sword technique. So basically, when Zoro was little, he belonged to a dojo, and at that dojo, there was the sensei who taught all of them, and there was only one girl in their class, and it was the sensei's daughter. And everyone kind of thought she must have gotten unfair privilege or instruction.
They thought that the sensei was teaching her things after class and holding back the other students, but that's not what's happening.
And that is just sexist because they don't understand how this girl could be so much better than all of the grown-ups and the other boys. And Zoro is the best in the class, only second to her. And she has beat him 2,000 times. And when they go to fight their 2001th time, he comes to her in the night and he's like, we're going to use real swords this time. We're not using our wooden swords. I want you to really fight me. You're not afraid, are you? And she's like, no, I'm not afraid. So she fights him and she wins again with real swords. Smokes him. And they have this conversation afterwards where Zoro says, I want to be better than you. I want to be the best swordsman in the world. And she says, I want to be the best swordsman in the world too, but I won't be because I was born a girl. And he says, it doesn't matter.
It's a very sad moment.
It is so sad. And it's very true. Women have so much to fight against when it comes to the glass ceiling. And this is a great example of how in another world that would be the same. This is also an example of the queerness in One Piece. And I will say that one reason I picked One Piece to talk about with Wolfgang is even if there's not a lot of romance, I like to talk about gay things. There's a lot of gay things in One Piece. One of my favorite fucking characters is who, Wolfgang?
Bon Clay?
Bon Clay.
Oh, yeah.
Bon Clay.
He's coming up pretty soon. And
he's one of the queerest characters in any anime I've ever seen. I mean, just extremely queer. And in this story, we meet Zoro's childhood best friend who says, I wish I was born a boy. My body is changing. I'm getting breasts. I won't be the same fighter. I won't have the same center of gravity. I wish I was a boy. And I have to wonder if Oda maybe had a friend growing up who was trans and struggled with these things because it didn't feel accidental. It didn't feel like shallow. This felt like a trans representation of somebody who considered themselves a boy, wanted to be a boy, and understood that biologically they weren't, and had this body dysmorphia. And then this character, the next day after they promised each other that one of them will be the best swordsman, the character is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And they fell down the stairs, which, if you're curious, if that's some kind of metaphor, like I was, a lot of people have come to this conclusion that she committed suicide, which is the #1 cause of death for trans children. And I do think that might be a plausible thing that happened because she seemed so depressed when she was fighting Zoro. And
it's kind of, for the people who've been reading One Piece, it's kind of a mystery that we think is going to come back around because in all actuality, every single, like Courtney said at the beginning, every single crew member has a backstory that you get into, and you really only get Zoro's really quick in just this little segment, and it's like not very much backstory. And so,
like, we don't know who his mom or his dad are.
No, I mean, you don't even know who Luffy's mom. You don't know who Luffy's mom is. You understand who his dad is throughout the thing, but I think a lot of the fans who've been reading One Piece this whole time that's one of those mysteries that we're looking to get, because like we're very curious about this whole thing and his master in the dojo. It's a lot of unanswered questions.
And so in this moment in the backstory, we get what is driving Zoro, and it's his promise that he made to this friend of his in his childhood that one of them would be the best swordsman. So he goes to talk to his friend who's passed away, and he promises her, I will keep this promise we made to each other. If you can't be the best swordsman because you're dead now, I will do it for both of us. And that fire never dies, and he determines to be the best swordsman out there. And I love that that is his mission. And that's why it doesn't really matter if he's a bounty hunter or a pirate. His goal in life is to be the best swordsman. So he could do that as a bounty hunter. He could also do that on Luffy's crew. And he realizes he doesn't really have a choice anymore. They've let him go. They've helped him. So he's going to agree to be on this crew. And that's what he does. They overthrow everybody. They take out the axe hand Morgan, and they
save the town.
They saved the town. And even the Marines are so thankful that they saved them, because they couldn't, this wasn't what they signed up for. They wanted to be good guys. They wanted to be in the Marines. They wanted to be a part of the military. They didn't want to be under a dictator following random rules that didn't make any sense and didn't uphold any higher justice. So they're glad that they did this. And
they're so thankful to let them stay for the day. And they let them eat. And then they're like, hey, we appreciate everything you've done, but you are pirates. We are the Navy. We're not going to arrest you. We're not going to tell the Navy you're here, but it's time for you to leave. You've eaten. You've gotten your strength back. Now leave.
And Kobe,
politely they ask.
Kobe doesn't want to leave with them, and they don't want to take Kobe with them because they want Kobe to join the Marines. Like it's his dream. And so they say, well, we'll leave. We're pirates, but Kobe didn't even mean to be here, and he is going to stay with you guys.
He's not our friend.
And they told Kobe prior to this that if he let on to his past as a cabin boy with a pirate, that background check was going to exclude him from being able to be in the Marines. So he knows he has to keep that part of his life secret. And these pirates start to question, I don't know, he looks like he's a pirate like you guys. You better take him with you. Luffy says, we're not friends. He's not a pirate. In fact, and he goes to kind of reveal Kobe's secrets so that Kobe gets scared and has to shut him up.
It has to hit Luffy in the face.
So he hits Luffy in the face, tells him to shut up, and all the Marines see, oh, they must not be friends because Kobe just punched him in the face, and they believe this kind of ruse that they put on. And Kobe gets to stay with the Marines, and they say, all right, boy, you can come with us. And as they go to embark on their next journey and get on their boat to go, Kobe runs to the dock and salutes them goodbye. And all of the Marines come up behind him, and they all salute these two guys, Zoro and Luffy. And then the captain says, we're not allowed to salute pirates, so we're all going to have to go without dinner for a while. But thank you guys and have a safe trip.
And he says, you have some really good friends. And so he knew, knows. But like he threw him a bone.
And definitely that other character, Helmuppo, the daddy's boy who kind of hurt everybody, we realized that his dad was also very bad to him, and he was also looking for his place to fit in this world. And so that character and Kobe are going to go off with the Marines, but we can all expect them to come back later. That's not really a spoiler. I'm just letting you know, if you liked Kobe in this volume, he does come back. So after that, they get back on the ship. They're immediately hungry, even though they just ate. They realize they have no food, nobody to cook for them. They have no navigator, and Luffy and Zoro have absolutely no sense of direction at all. In fact, Zoro kind of ended up in jail because he got lost.
It becomes a running theme in the show about how much he gets lost everywhere.
Yes. So they're drifting off to sea, and we have no hope for them until
they start to argue about what they need next on the crew. And they realize they can't sail.
Yep.
They're starving.
They have no music.
They have no music.
And Luffy has this line where he says...
They don't have a doctor.
Mm-hmm. And Luffy has this line where he says, I think we'll need about 10 members, and there's only 2 of us now, but eventually we're going to have to find a musician and a cook and a navigator and a doctor. And so we know they're looking for those people. And then there's some people drowning, and Luffy is hungry, and he sees a bird up in the sky. So he launches himself up into the sky, and he grabs onto the bird, And Zoro starts paddling after him.
Because the bird takes him away.
Because the bird is taking Luffy. And so Zoro's trying to chase after Luffy when he sees these 3 pirates drowning in the water. And they say, let us in. And he pulls him up into the boat and he says, well, now you've made me lose my friend Luffy. Why are you guys out here in the water all by yourselves? And they say, let us tell you a story about the lady who just tricked us. And then we have a flashback, and the boys haven't met her yet, but we see what happened to these pirates just, I don't know, a couple hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
They got tricked by a woman, passed out in a dinghy with a treasure chest. And she was acting like a damsel in distress, and they go up to steal her treasure. And she says, please, just give me some water and you can have my treasure. And they say, we're going to check your treasure first, then you can have some water. So as they get on the boat to check her treasure, she gets on their boat and sails it the fuck away. And as soon as she does, she says, by the way, the weather's very bad and you're going to capsize. And right at that moment, the clouds roll in, the ship capsizes, and she doesn't care that she's basically just killed 3 men and took all of their stuff.
Oh, she didn't kill them. She just screwed them over heavily.
Yeah, so they'll probably die. And she doesn't mind. And she says, I hate pirates, even though every single thing she just did was so pirate coded. I don't know how in the beginning of this she's differentiating herself from the pirates, other than the fact that she's a girl and probably none of these pirates wanted her on their crew in the first place. And she has some, and I know from watching the anime, she has some enemies who are pirates. But basically every instinct in Nami is a pirate instinct. She is like born to be a pirate.
She's a cat thief.
Oh, she's a cat burglar, yeah.
Cat burglar, yeah.
And she loves to steal things. She loves to trick people. She loves to pull these hijinks. So now she has their ship, a pirate ship, all to herself with treasure on it, with water on it. And these guys are drowning in the ocean. And that's where we end the story, kind of knowing that in the next volume, we're probably going to introduce Nami, this girl, to Luffy and Zoro.
The way that the story ends is Luffy gets dropped Luffy is flying over an island. The bird is holding him. Some cannons hit the bird, and Luffy falls directly in front of Nami. And right now, during this time, Nami is running with some other treasure from another pirate crew. Briefly get an introduction to the buggy pirates, but we don't really know who they are. And so what's happening is Nami is on this island running from the buggy pirates with their treasure. Luffy falls directly right in front of her, and she's running from these like 3 pirates, and Luffy falls directly in front of her, and she goes, my boss is here. Boss, go take care of him. I'm going to go back to the ship. And the 3 pirates go, her boss, and so they surround him, and that's kind of where it ends.
Then it flashes immediately to the next panel, and they're all knocked out. Luffy has knocked them all out.
Oh, yeah.
And Nami's sitting on the roof just picking her nails, and she goes, that was pretty quick. Do you want to team up? I love to steal stuff, and you seem like you might be good security. And Luffy looks up at her, and he's like, sure, that sounds great to me. And that's where their friendship kind of immediately starts. And I really did love this because, of course, Nami pulled the fast one on Luffy. She pulled a fast one on all these pirates. And then she's just sitting up on the roof waiting and kind of just having the time of her life. I absolutely fell in love with her in this moment because she's just so cool. Like, she's so effortlessly cool. And she has all of these men. Like, she just like walks all over them. She walked all over Luffy the second she saw him. She threw him under the bus. She threw those 3 guys under the bus and into the ocean.
She was good at using stupid men.
Yes. And when she used them, when she was pulling that ruse in the ocean, she was damsel in distressing. She was using her feminine wiles to convince people that she's stupid and helpless when she knows that she's smarter than the rest of them. And I personally love to do this to men. I think that it's very funny, and also it's like our payback for all the years you guys didn't let us vote or have our own bank accounts. Sure. Like, I do think that tricking men and being mean to them and being smarter than them is hilarious, and it's kind of their just payback. So yeah, this is my absolute peak ideal kind of character, is a girl who doesn't mind humbling a bunch of men, and she does in every episode, and I'm gonna guess in every volume she's gonna humble a different man, and I love that. And Luffy, one thing I like about Luffy is it doesn't seem like he makes any assumptions on people based on their looks or on their gender, and he kind of gives everybody
a fair shot.
Yes. And so like when he meets Nami, he doesn't see her as a girl and go, "Oh, you're cute," or think she couldn't be smart or whatever. He just immediately goes, "Oh wow, you've really got a lot of energy and a lot of spunk, kid." Like, just like he did with Zoro, just like he did with Kobe. And he doesn't see her as a girl, he sees her as a potential crew mate. And we find out that she has these excellent abilities to read the weather, so probably an amazing navigator.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm guessing in the next volume, we're going to get more of that information on how she would be able to offer them help on the ship, as Zoro is going to be the main swordsman, Luffy is going to be the captain, and this is probably going to be their navigator.
Pretty much.
Yep, so that's where we end off. This is like such a cute first volume, and it was fun because throughout the volume we got to see how he drew the flag for Luffy, which is the Straw Hat Pirates, and all the different Jolly Rogers that these different crews have at this point. We also get to see at the very end of this volume, it shows us that Oda wrote this as a one-shot called Romance Dawn, and we get to see that original art in the back of that. So very fun kind of history of One Piece.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun to get introduced to what this all looked like at the beginning. It's so funny because, Oda probably didn't know if he was going to get renewed for another season or if Shonen Jump would keep him as a weekly.
Definitely not 1,000 episodes. And
no,
definitely
not the most popular anime in the world.
Yeah, the amount of chapters this thing has, he definitely did not know that.
Yeah, so very impressive, very fun to feel like we're back there on day one, back in 1995 or whatever, starting this journey with Luffy, with Oda. I had so much fun. I hope you guys really enjoyed reading this. Now, this is my favorite part of every episode, which is where we choose our delusional boyfriend. And we're going to pick only from the characters who we met in this volume. Who's your delusional boyfriend from this volume?
It's probably Shanks.
It's Shanks, 100%. It's Shanks. I was so in love with Shanks in this because he acts like this big brother. He's very protective of Luffy. He also introduces, at one point, he tells Luffy he's his friend while Luffy's getting his head stomped on. And Luffy goes, "Friend?" And we can tell he's like a little orphan boy or something and doesn't have a lot of friends, doesn't have a lot of family. And so this means a lot to him. And it sparks the whole point of this series, which is friendship. And so Shanks is the role model for Luffy that teaches him that friendship matters more than victory, friendship matters more than treasure, friendship matters more than everything. And then on top of that, he also gets his arm bitten off without even fucking flinching. He takes the pain like such a man. He is the bigger man when he gets those mountain bandits, and he can't be like antagonized into a fight. He'll only fight when he wants to fight, and otherwise he just kind of laughs it off and lets it roll off his back, like water off a duck's back, as Jinx Monsoon would say.
Yeah.
And I really like that about him. He is a bigger man, and he's also funny and fun-loving. He pokes fun at Luffy, and he's very nice to the barmaid. When a mess is made in the bar, he doesn't make the bartender, clean it up. He cleans it up himself. So
no, he's an overall good guy.
And he's hot. He has red hair and 3 scars down his face.
Mm-hmm.
No arm. I mean,
well,
now he wears a white button up. Everything about him is so cute. And I don't know anything about him. I don't know if he's good at fighting with a sword or with a gun or what his deal is, but I do know.
You don't see Shanks for a very, very long time.
But I do know that everyone respects him on that crew, and that he might not even need that arm because he has a right-hand man who shoots a gun, and he's got this whole crew that will protect him as long as he protects his crew. So definitely my delusional boyfriend of this story. I would absolutely fuck Shanks 100%. I'm very sad I'm not going to see him again soon. So do you ship anyone from this volume, any of these characters from this volume?
Not yet.
Not at this point?
No.
No.
Not yet.
The only ship I could even kind of come up with was the bartender and Shanks would be a cute couple, for sure. If he got her knocked up and then came back and saw their babies at Luffy's hometown.
That's an excellent ship, actually, because that might happen.
And then the other thing I really liked was the girl who made the rice balls is about Luffy's age, and she had a lot of spunk, and I really liked her. And I thought, it would be funny if...
She's pretty young.
I think she's about Luffy's age.
Okay. Sure,
Maybe not.
I think she's like a child.
You're right, because Luffy's 19, and this might be like, I was thinking like 12 years old, maybe, but maybe I was just thinking maybe Luffy comes back to this island and this girl is a cook or something, and he remembers the girl who wasn't afraid of the Marines, who walked out even if she was going to get shot to feed Zoro his rice balls.
I would cry.
And made it with sugar instead of with salt because she likes sweets. And I just think that sounds like somebody that Luffy would like.
Yeah,
if he liked anybody, he would like somebody who cooks for him.
Well, even if we saw that character again in the future, I would definitely cry. That would be very.
Cry over everything.
Well, I know, but that would be a real circle around. No, real. We've really gone from the beginning of the Shire to Mordor to the Shire.
Oh my God!
That would be a whole references. Thing.
So that's one ship that I was thinking about. And then, of course, a lot of people want to ship Luffy and Nami. We see them at the end of this, and they're immediately friends, but I just didn't catch a vibe at all. Yeah,
I think that either Nami is going to be on her own and just have a butt ton of treasure, or maybe Sanji one day will finally lock it down, but it's going to be...
You don't feel like Nami is a very hot femme lesbian?
Sure.
She absolutely is lesbian.
Absolutely.
And I will say this, there is a ship with Nami and a character, spoiler, and a character named Vivi, who's a princess. And that, when I got to that point in the anime...
Tons of treasure. I mean, that
rich,
really... Yeah.
And it's femme for femme.
Has an entire country. It's like that would work.
And you can see, I'm not a full lesbian. I like this one man. I like one man.
Thanks, beautiful.
This is my husband, who is a man. But for the most part, I would say that I lean towards women. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I definitely lean towards women, sure.
And I definitely lean towards women. And I like a femme for femme situation. Do you know what that means?
No.
So, like, I might be what somebody would call a femme because I'm not mask presenting as a girl, right? So if I were a lesbian and not a bisexual girl, you might call me a femme lesbian, which is what I would call Vivi because she's so feminine, right? And then Nami is also very feminine. She is gorgeous. She wears high heels. She wears mini skirts, all that. And I think there's, like, if I didn't marry you, which I'm so happy I did, I would have married the most femme girl in the world.
Sure.
Like the most beautiful, hair curled every day, makeup on every day. I love that. And so
people like what they like.
I think that character, I think Nami is absolutely a lesbian, and I really am excited for that ship. So
that'd be cool.
What are your overall expectations? I know you've already read a lot of this and watched a lot of this, so you don't have a lot of predictions, but I have some predictions for what's going to happen.
I mean, my overall expectations, I think, like I said, are I'm just looking forward to looking at appreciating the art develop throughout the different mangas, because I think there's over 115 volumes right now, and so I'm just looking forward to watching the art evolve and grow.
Yeah, and I am very excited for this year because we're doing 1 volume per week, which means that we are going to hit 50 volumes by the end of this year, and that means we'll be officially a third of the way through One Piece. So we could do this for 3 years, or next year maybe we'll want to move on to another one. Who knows? But I hope that you guys will stick around. I know that this is a romance podcast, and I do think there's going to be a lot more shipping, a lot more delusional boyfriends to talk about as we go on.
A lot of characters.
And a lot more gay stuff, queer stuff, fun stuff going on that we can talk about and dig into. So if you're here for the romance, just hold tight, and I swear there's going to be more. My expectations for this are that I'm going to ship a ton of characters, make a bunch of BL ships. And also, I had one prediction for this, which is that there will be 10 crew members. Because in this first volume, Luffy says, I'll need about 10 crew members. That should do. And I know at this point in the current situation in One Piece, 1,100 episodes in, I think we have 6 or 7 main crew members. And now that's going to be their doctor, their navigator, their musician, their cyborg, right? Their swordsman, their captain.
Their cook. You say cook already?
Their cook, and
so
that's what we're at. No, that's 8.
No, but you have a few more people on the crew.
What's he? What is his role?
kick ass. Like, I don't know, Jinbei is like also he can navigate, but he's also
Don't give away any spoilers. Okay, then there's
she's
they're a historian.
the historian. I mean,
Oh, that's 10.
yeah, that's 10.
10.
That's 10.
So,
And so
okay.
they do have 10, and also you have um people that are part of the crew that don't necessarily are on the boat. So you have two individuals. Vivi, who Courtney's talked about, is one of them.
And the other one is Boa, and Boa is the captain of her own.
No, but Boa's not part of their crew. She's
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, she's part. No. The other person is Yamato, who you're gonna get at the kind of more towards the end.
Another queer character.
Yeah, she has a very interesting background. But you get a lot of these people who, through friendship, they join the crew, but they're not necessarily on the crew, but they represent the crew doing like different things.
Honorary members. And
absolutely. Honorary members is the perfect way to say it. They are the crew. They are part of the crew. They just don't sail with them.
And one of those characters who's very popular in the fandom and is one of my girl crushes overall is Boa. And she is technically the captain of her own crew, but she travels with them a lot of times and is an honorary member of theirs as well.
She's an ally to
she's an ally to them, but she is a pirate queen. She is her own.
The difference is
warlord.
The difference is that like when you get to a certain point of the show, you have like all these like big powerful pirate crews, and they become like kind of there's allies and there's definitely enemies. And so like you have people who you can like sail with and be like, this guy, he's cool. We can go to this island together and we're not going to have a big deal. But then obviously you have problems with like the Navy, and then you have like bad pirates that are really just like looking out for their own intentions. And so yeah, she Boa Hancock is an honorary ally of the Straw Hats, and she, because she has a crush on Luffy, would never hurt them. So
I feel like I want to change my answer from Sanji to I think my overall delusional boyfriend from this whole series will be Robin or Boa. I just like him a sucker.
Robin's cool.
I'm a sucker for a girl who kind of looks like me, like a brown-haired girl. I'm a Leo, and Leos are just notoriously self-obsessed. And whenever I watch Boa, I also kind of just feel like I can relate to Boa. We're gonna get to this character later.
Well, she doesn't. She has an entire island full of women that she doesn't let men on. Yes. So this is very spot on for you.
Yeah, I think she might be my like overall favorite,
except for one guy.
Once we're at the end of the series, I feel like if somebody beats out Sanji or Zoro or Shanks or Ace or whatever, it would be Boa or Robin. And Boa is just so cool. We'll get to her later in the series, but if you guys need something to...
Or Zoro's dad, who you don't know about yet.
There's a lot of daddies, actually. But one thing I would say for the girlies out there, Boa is such a sick character, and her catchphrase is... what is it? I get away with anything because I'm beautiful.
Well, essentially.
Yep. And
yeah, no, it's she can do whatever she wants because she's beautiful.
Because she's beautiful. Everyone will forgive her. And that's true. Every time she does anything bad, she just looks at people and she goes, you'll forgive me because I'm beautiful. And then they do immediately forgive her because she's beautiful.
She's drop dead gorgeous.
And regardless if I'm like a hard 6.5 to other people, I'm an 11 to you, and you always forgive me because I'm beautiful, and I really do relate to that.
You're like a 20 out of the scale. But yeah.
So I'm really excited to meet some of those other characters. I can't wait. I'm so glad that you decided to do this with me. This is so much fun, and I had such a good time reading this with you. I can't believe I thought this was going to be a 20-minute episode, and we've been recording for an hour and 24 minutes. This is so much fun. I actually, if these all end up being an hour-long episode, people will be happy. They won't mind if it's not a mini episode.
If there's one comment down below that I'd like to see, did you like, and I'll do this every week, but did you like Himepo? Because no one does. He comes back in the story over and over again. I, to this day, do not like Himepo.
I fucking hate Himepo. I hate him so much. And honestly, I will say this about Kobe. Initially, I didn't like Kobe, and then pretty quickly in the anime, I loved him. And
he gets a massive glow up.
A massive glow up. And I kind of forgot, but I have a present for Wolfgang. Do you want it?
Down below, just comment and tell me, did you like Himepo? Because no one does. But I'd love to see if there's a fan out there.
Okay. This year for Christmas, we did separate things. He went to his family's place. I went with my family to Vegas. And it was kind of sad not being together, but I also didn't get him all of his presents, and almost all of them were One Piece related. So I thought maybe I'd just give him to him on the podcast. I almost forgot, but this is the perfect one to give to you today. Ready?
Oh, wow. So it's Kobe from, I mean, and you won't recognize him if you're new to this, but this is his glow up.
So,
he becomes actually very handsome, and so
open it up.
this is. Oh, no, I'll do that later. Thank you, but I'll do that in my office. Put this in behind glass. But no, this is Kobe during the current manga arc.
Okay, and here is a picture of him. So what I was going to say was Kobe originally didn't love him, didn't love the look of him, but he gets, I wish you could see him a little better. He gets cute. Like, he honestly does get cute. And I will say, like, if you comment below that you hate Helmeppo, also comment below if Kobe ends up being one of your delusional boyfriends, because I absolutely think that he's one of mine.
Every single time he's on the screen in the new episodes, Courtney's like, "There's my boy.
There's my boy." He's so cutesy. And my best friend has pink hair and I'm in love with her. So anybody with pink hair, I'll also be in love with. And I just think it's really cool. I told Wolf, I texted him once my theory about the One Piece. And my theory was that it's the dream of everybody working together. And because he's in the Marines and Luffy is a pirate and the One Piece is peace, it's actually peace between nations, peace between the pirates and the Marines. That is the One Piece. The true treasure is when we all stop war and we stop the fighting and we just have fun and we hang out together and we realize that we're not all inherently bad guys or good guys, but we have the potential to be friends. So the One Piece is peace. It's peace and joy and happiness across the seas and across these different countries. Because there's a huge government force, we find that's the main running plot here, is that a lot of these people, just like in our real world, are not free and don't have peace. So our characters are going to be going, whether they're in the Marines or they're the pirates, all the good guys are trying to help each other find peace, find happiness, and find friendship. So Kobe kind of became one of my favorite characters because his friendship with Luffy represents peace. It represents peace between two people who would be natural enemies but don't have to be. If they're both fighting for what they believe in and they're both sticking to their moral code and doing what is good, it doesn't matter what team they're on, they can help the world achieve peace by shaking hands and crossing the aisle together. So I love this character. I love this.
I think it's also like Kobe he's really representative of like the very beginning of this book. You have a person who says, "I'm going to become king of the pirates," and at the very beginning of this book, you have a person who says, "I'm going to join the Navy and fight bad guys and do the right thing." And so I wholeheartedly think that Colby is going to be the admiral and the leader of the Navy one day. And it's one of those things where I think the Oda is writing it to represent kind of the way that life is happening right now, in the sense that like you have people in power that have been there for too long and they need to kind of get out because the younger generation has an idea and they kind of understand the world through the steps of everyone else that's come before them, and they understand the right path. And the people that are there right now might have lost that path and are not necessarily doing the right thing anymore. And so I think it's a big representative. I mean, especially now, like how society is, like there's definitely a need for the new to come in and the old to get out. So.
Yeah, our golden age of pirates we're ready for that age as a world, and I think Oda,
100%,
writing this since 1995, is also ready for the young guard to come in and have some life and maybe be able to understand each other and not have this mentality of war and destruction and genocide. And maybe we could move forward in a more progressive way if these other young bucks got their chance at it. So I hope Kobe becomes the leader of the Marines. I hope that Luffy becomes the king of the pirates. And I cannot wait to see if they do. Thank you guys so much for listening. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe and turn on auto downloads so that any bonus content we do that isn't posted on normal days is immediately delivered to your library. Otherwise, you can expect these episodes on One Piece every Tuesday and our full episodes on Thursday. And until next time, remember, sometimes the delusion
is the solution.
Bye.
See you guys.